Now we've got some of the archers. Time to return to the shooting line for the introduction of the contenders for gold here in the French capital.
On target number 1, representing India, Ojas Praveen Deodale. On target number 2, representing the United States of America, James Lutz. Krista Sawyer Sullivan. The line judge for this matchup is Lance Machado Nunez.
So India featuring again in the gold medal match here in Paris. They line up with Ojas Deodale, new world champion, Prathamesh Jalkar, who's a stage winner this season, along with Abhishek Verma, who's also won a stage on the circuit. They go up against the USA's James Lutz, Chris Schaff and Sawyer Sullivan. Not an easy one to call, this one, Chef.
No, indeed. Difficult call even, especially since both these teams haven't actually won a stage yet this year. So it's going to be interesting to see who will be the first one to do so.
Great start from Deodale straight into the middle of the target.
So India starts off with a perfect 30 in their first rotation, and we were kind of talking before the match, and I said USA compound men's team always dangerous to shoot against. They somehow always manage to just bump out some really high scores. So I think this is going to be a pretty exciting match.
Be confident. Nice and relaxed. Yep.
Sawyer Sullivan, just 19 years old, the youngest on the team.
Let's go, Jimmy. Good, strong shot. Confident. Yep. Let's go.
Looking very solid, the USA team there. Very calm.
Yeah, although there is like an underlying almost like nervous feel to the team. They know who they're up against. And shooting against a team from India, especially in the compound division this year, has proven to be very, very difficult.
Let's go, boys.
Just a single point drop by the Indian team. And, an opportunity, perhaps, for the USA. Can they match the 310s they shot in the first rotation?
I kind of want to say opening the door a little bit, but that seems like a bit of a stretch with only 1 point dropped. Although, with the level of shooting so far this week, as we see Sawyer Sullivan wrestle his arrow off the bow, I think he might have had a broken knock or a broken vein. Not the fastest shooter on the roster, but what they will have going for them is that Jimmy Lutz is now stepping onto the line, and Jimmy is known to be a puncher, so he just consciously presses the button of his release. So that means that he'll probably be able to get this shot off before the buzzer goes.
Well, start from the USA as well. That open door, you're suggesting there was a little crack in it, let's say, but they've taken advantage of the USA and lead by a single point after the first end. We've seen the Indians this season been very solid, but it's these moments where they're tested that really is the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, we've seen it before where if you can really put a lot of pressure on the team, they will sometimes make a couple mistakes. So what the USA team is doing now, just getting out of the gates fast, just shooting a perfect score in that first end, letting India know, like, we're here as well. I think that's a good way to go about it.
Just checking the arrows here, the agents. Oh, there's an interesting agent as well for the USA.
Yeah, agent for the USA, Braden Galantine. He is, well, technically retired as of last Thursday, I think.
As an archer, apparently, as an agent, he's still working.
Yeah, still going. But yeah, I could imagine having worse agents than Braden Galantine, maybe the most decorated World Cup circuit archer in history.
Yes, thank you for saving me from saying a word I don't like, the most winningest athlete. Most medals in individual and team competition. Here is Jimmy Lutz, the puncher, as Chef referred to him, actively releasing his arrows. And the fact that Sawyer Sullivan had a little wobble there, a problem with one of his arrows, saved not only from that very quick final shot from Lutz, but also his first shot was super fast.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what we're going to see throughout the match. He typically doesn't take too long getting his shot off.
Start of the second end, India shooting first, trailing by a single point.
He didn't seem too happy with that, but I think it just clips the line. You could see in the shot that he was trying to at least not drop his bow arm too much, and maybe even get the arrow to go a bit higher than where the side pin was at the moment of release. Difficult to see from the angle that we're sitting at, but I think it has a very good chance to still hit the 10 ring. That one does not.
No, there's clear air between that arrow and the 10. And here we get to see the contrast between Sullivan and Lutz in terms of, well, if nothing else, the timing of the shot. Just gets up to full draw and it's gone.
Yeah, and that's due to their difference in shot approach or technique, where Sawyer Sullivan shoots with a hinge style release and Jimmy Lutz shoots with a trigger release, as Deotale does here. Trigger release meaning there's just a button you have to press and then goes off. the difference between Jimmy Lutz and Pravin Deotale is that Pravin has more of a, like, he squeezes through the shot, whereas Jimmy punches the button. He punches the trigger. Very often people refer to punching as a manifestation of target panic, which is like a mental blockage almost. But well, Jimmy does it deliberately, and he does it very well.
Nice and smooth. Confident. Focus. Good finish. Trust it.
9. No.
Let's go, Sawyer. Nice and smooth, confident shot.
I was gonna say it doesn't, or it didn't look like such a bad shot, but Chris was also surprised that that one didn't hit the 10 ring, so I wasn't alone in that.
Nice and smooth. Yep. Plenty of time, Jimmy. 20 seconds.
The American coach saying plenty of time. James, you've got 20 seconds. He didn't need 10 of them. Well, I think your call there on that first arrow is pretty critical now. Currently, provisionally, USA trailing by a point, having gone into the end leading by a point. But that very first arrow from Chris Schaff, subject to a measure marked with a 9 and an asterisk, meaning the target judge has some work to do here.
Yeah, we're always happy to have somebody with sometimes even a magnifying glass to really make sure that the arrow does or does not hit the line, so we don't have to do that job.
Looking at that left target, and the arrow with the blue veins. They look pretty relaxed, the USA team.
Yeah, in an interview earlier this week, Jimmy said they don't often get a chance to shoot together, so I think this is the second time they shoot together in this team, like with the three of these people. But they make it work. Like, they know they individually are very good shooters, and yeah, he just said we just make it work. It's one of those things where if you live in such a vast country, geographically speaking, it's difficult to have a centralized program. Whereas, for instance, the Netherlands, everybody lives within 2 or 3 hours from each other, and you can just drive to one place and shoot together. So it's the bigger the country, often the more difficulty you'll get training together with a certain team.
Well, as it pans out, you were right, Chef. That 9 did get marked up for the USA, and we're all square at the halfway stage. 118 apiece between India and the USA.
And I feel at this stage in the match, shooting a 9 can happen, but shooting 2 9s in a row might turn out pretty difficult to get back from.
Good focus. Good finish, straight to the target. Yep. trust it. Good finish. Yep. Just got on the execute clock.
And this is what I was talking about earlier, where India shoots 2 9s and the USA is just walking away with the lead now. If they manage to shoot another 10, they have a 2-point lead for the last 9 arrows to go.
What a group that is for a for a trio of athletes that don't shoot together very often. They certainly got their team communication up. Important arrows for Diatole, Jalka and Verma.
Let's go, Chris. Good strong shot. Confident shot.
And India doing what they must and putting the pressure on with 3 10s.
Straight to the target.
It seemed like a bit of a,
Let's go, Sawyer.
like the shot kind of exploded rather than just broke.
Good, strong, confident shot.
Yeah, it doesn't look happy to see Khrushchev.
Often archers are their own worst critic in situations like these.
Just out the next step.
It's a chance for a 1-point lead here.
Yeah, he had 30 seconds left when he stepped on the line, and I doubt that he's going to use more than 10.
Well, a blown opportunity for the USA, and it looks like certainly Schaff and Lutz have been hit hard by that, and we've got one more end to go here.
Yeah, and for some reason, James took out a Allen wrench to fix something on his bow or to adjust something on his bow, so he must have felt like his equipment was failing him in that last shot rather than his shot not breaking in the middle. But that 2-point deficit that India had after the first rotation, by putting pressure on the US team and shooting well, they have regained, the tied score, and now they go into the last set, or last end rather, tied up with the USA. So the match can go either way from this point.
Well, you mentioned it earlier on that the Indians are sort of starting to show the grit that you need. They don't crumble when they're under pressure and behind.
Yeah, and they're also, I feel like sometimes whenever they end up not leading a match, when they end up trailing, they have like the trust, and they just keep going in their process, which maybe is something they have naturally, but also it might be something that Sergio Pagni brought to the equation here. He might have come into this and said, okay, this is how we're going to go into finals, this is the mental process, this is the shot process, and this is going to win us medals.
Seems to be working at the moment. And of course, the American coach, who's very vocal himself, and perhaps the man with the best beard in international archery.
Yeah, Chris Webster, a former Olympic-style recurve archer himself.
Yeah, and not a bad person to have in the box. He's very calm, but very positive and very affirmative, and he absolutely underwrites and stamps a really good shot, whether it's a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, and I think that's, like I said before, that's probably the best mindset to have. Even if you shoot an arrow that's not perfect, you want to go into the next arrow thinking, okay, I'm going to do as much as I can to get this next arrow into the gold or into the middle, and not dwell on the past.
Well, not dwelling on the past here is India as they begin end number 4 with a 10. And they have this match in their hands at the moment, with the pressure from the last end seemingly hitting Schaff and Lutz particularly hard.
But what you can hear the mic picking up is some rain coming down in this last end of the match. And you can see that they're looking for shelter under that big umbrella.
Let's go, guys.
Not without drama this one. We knew it was a tight one to call. The USA have led. It's all square coming into this, but how will
finish,
Schaff
straight to the
and Lutz
target.
recover from a couple of lines in the last end?
9.
Let's go, Sawyer. Good, strong shot. Confident. Trusted. Good finish, straight to the target. Nice and smooth. Yep, there it is. X. Let's go, Jimmy.
Yeah, not dwelling on the pass is something that Chris is currently struggling with quite a lot. It makes sense because
Good,
if
strong
you're
shot.
shooting 9s and you're not certain why you're shooting 9s, it can get very, very frustrating.
Hello, hello.
Straight right. Straight right.
Has really opened the door here for India.
At this point, all they need to do is keep it within the gold.
Confidence. Tight. Confident, patient still.
There's a little bit of a wobble there,
Yep.
but he puts his teammate Abhishek Verma in a very good position here.
10.
Anything more than a 7,
Shot nikalna bhi hai.
and this is done.
6. 5.
Time running out, but into the 10 for a perfect finish from India. An absolutely supreme way to take the gold medal. Tough moment now for the USA, right?
Yeah, that first 9 by Chris kind of opened the door up a little bit, but then I think something must have happened to either Jimmy's equipment or to his shooting to make that arrow go into the 8. But he was very surprised, and he's constantly looking at his equipment, thinking what can be the matter here. But yeah, that just took all the pressure off of the Indian team, and they sailed through.
Yep. 20 seconds.
Nine.
Right now.
No.
Well, curious 56 from the USA, but I think this match was turned around on end number 3 with 2 9s, just 2 9s from the USA, but from Schaff and Lutz, who shot those 9s, basically didn't recover from them, dwelled on it too long. But hats off to the Indian team. They've done it again. First win this season, as you say, but this growing confidence within the team has brought them to this gold medal here in Paris.
Yeah, and like they have maybe not won a stage before this season, but they have won the World Championships, and well, they have done medals and shot very well throughout the season.
Finishing off with a perfect 60, it's Abhishek Verma